is Matt for MJ Boxing. We're going to be going live today with a promising young fighter called Jordan Gill. Jordan trains under Dave Coldwell. Many happy returns for today, Dave. Jordan is, been WBA international featherweight champion as well as Commonwealth. So it'd be interesting to get his thoughts today on obviously fight camp that's upcoming on August the 1st. And everything to do with boxing. So we'll just wait for Jordan to clock in. There's a second. Yep. Is he up? Let's bring him in. Let's add him in. How's it going, man?
I'm alright, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not bad. What's connection like? Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, perfect.
No worries. Thank you for taking time for doing this today. We're fairly new channel still, so we're just sort of building up a bit of a following and trying to get as many of these IG lives done with fighters, especially with fight camp coming up. So we'll just go through a few bits. First off, obviously, obvious question. How's lockdown been, all that stuff? Have you managed to adapt your training and stuff like that with gyms being shut? How's things been going for you?
It's been good. I've enjoyed it. It's the longest time that I've spent at home since being an adult, due to me turning professional at 18 and moving away, taking myself away to Sheffield. So I've been enjoying it, been at home with family and chilling and relaxing and doing some good training as well. At the start of lockdown, I invested in a lot of equipment and made sure that I had it to hand. I had my strength conditioning coach and my boxing coach, Dave Coldwell, on hand on the FaceTime. So, he was working through a lot of good sessions and we got some really good work done.
Oh, that's good. Because I know a lot of boxers have seen this as a bit of a break from normal camp because they normally spend a lot of time away from home and a lot of money in different places, training away and stuff like that. So people I think have enjoyed the time at home to have like a training camp at home. Have you? What's going on with Barnet? Are you keeping it then? Or are you going to get it all chopped off?
I don't know. It's getting a bit wild. It's getting bigger and bigger every week. So see how it goes. I don't know. Not decided yet.
Jumping into fight camp, Reece Bellotti, the opponent. Coming into it, when you look at that card from top to bottom, it's very, very strong. And that fight in particular is a very competitive fight. Was that an easy decision to make, coming back from a bit of a break, to say, right, we'll jump in with Reece because, he's a very good fighter. Is that something that you're looking to do, jump into big challenges, straight away?
Yeah, 100%. I don't want to fight meaningless fights. So I had too many meaningless fights, and it wasn't my decision to fight these meaningless fights. And this fight with Reece Bellotti is a good fight, and whoever wins will go on to big fights, bigger fights, and go on to big titles. So it's a no-brainer for me to fight this fight, and any fighter that believes in himself would jump at the opportunity.
Yeah, I was speaking to Ted Cheeseman yesterday, and we were talking about there's a big thing in boxing about protecting your own and this undefeated record. I think obviously people like Floyd Mayweather's made it popular to be obviously undefeated. No one wants to lose, but a lot of fighters I think get sometimes unfair criticism for maybe sometimes not taking risks. When it's an extremely competitive fight. So I think it says a lot that obviously you've just said, yeah, let's crack on and let's just get going with it. How do you think you'll find fighting under these circumstances? Obviously, no crowd, just Eddie Hearn's back garden, basically. How do you think you'll find it?
I think it's one of them things that you don't know until you're there. You don't know until you're in a situation, and you can say, yeah, it won't affect me. But it might. It might, and there's no way of knowing. So there's only one way to find out, and we got to have a scrap in Eddie's garden, and that's the way it's going to be.
Yeah. Have they got are you sort of going to be kept under wraps all week then on fight week? Do you have to go down or make any special preparations with COVID and stuff? Have you found out what you're doing in terms of changing rooms and all that kind of stuff and testing? And are you getting tested all the way up to the fight?
Do you know what? I've not asked too many questions. All I've been told is that the fight's on, and that's enough for me to crack on and get my head down and do some good work. So As far as I know, we'll be going down on the Monday or Tuesday fight week. I think
Yeah,
Matchroom have hired a whole hotel, or certainly
yeah,
part of a hotel, and everyone's going to have to be tested on site and tested before they get the room key. Um, and then we'll have to isolate in the hotel, in our hotel rooms,
yeah,
not be walking around. I don't think anyone's allowed to leave a hotel. You can't go for walks or stuff like that. There's not going to be
yeah.
any media workouts. I think we're just
Mm,
going to be limited to our hotel
understandable.
rooms and being on site at all times to make sure that the risk is minimalised as much as possible. And I think, it is what it is. These circumstances you can't predict,
Yeah.
and we've got to roll with the punches. We've got to deal with it, and I think it'll be good.
Yeah, I was discussing this the other day with someone and they say, no, it's a bit like the football, like what, there's no crowd, it's not the same. But I think, well, some football or some boxing is better than none at all for me, anyway, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I think as well. Mob boxing might benefit the people that are watching on TV might have more of an idea of how brutal the sport is. You might be able to hear them extra shots that you don't hear
Yeah,
normally. You'll be able to hear the panic in the corners. You'll be able to hear every instruction from the referee. You might be able to hear a gasp from a body shot or these little
yeah,
touches, and I think it might add to the anticipation, the drama of the whole show. And I think it's gonna be good. I think it's gonna be very interesting for the boxing public to witness,
yeah.
and I think a lot of people will be tuning in because of that.
Do you think as well, in a way, because there's no crowd, it gives you an advantage to have more eyes on you, obviously on yourselves? Because normally, if you're maybe not headlining the bill and you're fighting at, say, the MEN Arena, you might be on first, where there's a few people in the arena, and you maybe don't get the exposure. Where now everybody's at home, there's no, they can't buy a ticket, so they have to tune in and watch. Do you think that because
Yeah,
obviously on the case, yeah,
I think you're right. I think there's going to be more eyes on you. I think the numbers are going to be better than ever. That's what I'm expecting anyway. I think it's a chance for us to really, step out and gain some traction
yeah,
because I think whoever wins and performs well, their stock's going to rise massively. I think even on this show, because the level of the fights are 50-50 fights, and the very competitive fights. I think even
yeah.
in a lot of the cases, the loser's stock will rise. So being involved in these fights and in these fight nights is a no-brainer, and I'm really looking forward to it.
When you were growing up, watching boxing, who was the boxer, or who sort of did you draw inspiration from to make you want to get into professional boxing?
Quite a few, to be honest. In our household, we always had boxing on. We got a boxing family, so like there was always boxing on TV. Growing up, I was from the age of 3, 4 year old. I remember watching
Yeah,
Prince Nassim Hamid's fights live. I
yeah,
used to tune in and watch Oscar De La Hoya's fights, Floyd Mayweather's fights, Roy Jones Jr. Back in the day. So showing my age, and I think there's probably no end of fighters that I've taken inspiration from. Um, so to narrow it down to just one would be too hard, I think.
okay. No. Um, in boxing now, one of the negative sides to it that's coming to mainstream media at the minute has been drug testing. Now, obviously, everyone knows what's gone on and who's failed the test and whatnot, but in boxing, how do you think it should be done? Because everyone's like, if you fail a test, you should be banned completely. Is it a case of, do you think one strike and you're gone? Or do you think it's got to be judged on circumstance? Because there's a lot of people sort of think it's becoming a bit of a mockery now when somebody, fails for X amount of substances and then they get a 6 month ban and then sign a contract somewhere and come back. I know that situation's got legal stuff's going on with him anyway, but just what's your sort of opinion on the drugs in boxing and peds and stuff like that?
I think it's really important to get it eradicated from the sport, and
Yeah,
it's such an hard job. And I think realistically, you have to do it by case by case, job because not all drugs are equal, and there's a
Mm,
bigger risk of contamination in certain products than there is in others. So, for example,
yeah,
um, Kid Galahad got um, banned for Winstrol, which is stanozolol, which is a
yeah,
steroid which helps retain muscle mass when in a massive calorie deficit. So, if you diet and if you're struggling to make weight, you're going to be extra strong whilst losing the fat. Whereas Billy Joe Saunders at the same gym got banned for nasal spray. Like
yeah,
it's something similar to pseudoephedrine. So, that's a stimulant. So that's going to help you lose weight by raising your heart rate and making you more alert in training. So giving you extra energy when you are probably in another calorie deficit. So, it's hard to judge everybody the same, or hard to um, paint everyone with the same brush, but I think it needs to be dealt with on a case by case basis. And I think it's very important to raise the stakes when it comes to punishment, because I think if you get banned for a serious substance, say like uh, something that's going to help you, like a big performance enhancing
yeah,
drug like a steroid, etc. I think you
mm,
need to be banned for life. I think there should be
yeah,
zero tolerance on things like that. Whereas, like, say, Dillian White, who got banned for a um,
over the counter workout, I think,
yeah,
wasn't it?
it was a pre-workout called Jack 3D, and
Yeah, yeah,
it's a stimulant. So that's the word I was looking for, was a stimulant. And if you get banned for something like that, that's just sold over the counter, or you can pick up in your local Holland and Barrett at the time. Then I
mm,
think it dealt with in a different manner. Um, But yeah, it's very important. I think now with UCAD and things like that, it's a 4-year ban automatic if you get caught. And unfortunately, it's not the same if you get caught in America. As we've
no.
seen with that, what's his name, the heavyweight, who got
Jarrell
banned
Miller.
for a cocktail of Jerome Miller got banned for a cocktail of substances, and
Yeah,
he got off with a 6-month ban, and it's just a joke, because at the end of the day, you're putting people's lives on the line, and you're risking your life by stepping in that ring every time, and the heartache that you'd cause if you hurt somebody seriously or kill somebody in the ring, which is legal to do, um,
yeah,
then you'd, I don't know how anybody would be able to live with themselves. I think we need a clean sport, and I think we need more testing. And I know it's expensive, but I think the promoters should
yes,
invest
it would.
and make the sport as clean as possible.
Yeah, just on that point, the reason I asked is because the fighter, still wrote it down, but there's a fighter in England, I can't remember his name. I'm sure he's been banned 4 years for testing positive for cocaine. And then when you
Mm.
look at
Liam
Jarrell
Cameron.
Miller, yeah, that's the one. And then when you look at obviously Jarrell Miller's situation, not to keep throwing his name in the mud, but then you look at that and think, he's had, I think it was 6 months to 9 or something like that, where he might not even box anywhere, because people, when they're getting paid that much money, sometimes only box, twice a year anyway. And you think, well, he's got off and signed a new contract, and that lad's now got 4 years out the ring, you know, for almost like a party drug. And it doesn't seem right, that, to me, at all. But yeah,
No,
when we want.
definitely. You can't apologise for throwing his name in the mud. He's a scumbag, and he needs to be called out at any given moment possible.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to be diplomatic with it and that, but yeah.
Nah, fuck it.
What advice would you give to a young fighter who's starting out now? What one piece of advice would you give for someone who wants to turn professional and wants to dedicate their life to doing what you do?
I'd
What's key?
say make sure that you get a good team around you. You need to have people that are looking out for your best interests. And I think
Yeah,
that's the most important thing, because you see fighters being chucked into fights that are not ready for, or
yeah,
being mistreated in a management deal, or being used and abused. I always say boxers are like prostitutes. They get used and abused, and when their time's
yeah,
done, they're bin. And it's not a sport. amateur boxing is a sport, professional boxing is a business. So, you know, you need people around you that are looking out for your best interests and have your best interests at heart.
Brilliant. You currently work with Dave Coldwell at present. What's that relationship like? Obviously, he's had, you know, a world champion like Tony Bellew in the gym with him. Anthony Fowler, I think, who's just recently gone. I know there's a young lads in there, Hopi Price. What's that relationship like, and how's, you know, that working relationship with Dave gone?
It's really good. You know, I've been working with Dave for a little while now, so coming up to 3 years. So we get on like a house on fire. You know, anything I
Yeah,
need, he helps me with. And you know, I do anything for him, he do anything for me, and it's a good working relationship. You know, he's firm but fair. He
yeah,
tells me what to do, and if I'm doing something wrong, he's not like he don't sit on the fence. He will tell me either way whether I need to
yeah,
do something right or wrong. You know, it's I think that's
yeah.
important that somebody puts you in your place, and he definitely does that for me, and at the same time, he does it in a cool way.
Through your career so far, you've only had the one. You only had the one defeat. I remember watching. You had you went through quite a lot of discomfort, and you didn't look yourself at all that night. Can you explain sort of just over again what happened that night when you took that fight on?
Yeah, basically, I weren't well before the fight. After the weigh-in, I started to feel ill. You know, I think I don't think I was in it. I must have been coming down with something from before then, because as soon as I sort of ate anything in the evening, you know, once I rehydrated, I started putting solid food in my body, and you know, body just didn't agree with it at all. My stomach, you know, wasn't holding up. I was
Yeah,
sort of absorbing all the water, but nothing like the goodness went in my body, and I was just like
mm,
bloated and you know, full of water. I didn't look myself. I didn't feel myself. My stomach was. I felt I was in a bad way. I felt sluggish, and my time was off, and you know, and I was extra heavy than I should have been. And you know, it was a bad night, and got in the ring, and as soon as the first bell, you don't really realize how bad you are until you're there, and by that time
yeah,
it's too late. And you know, on the pad you don't warm up by taking body shots. You don't know what sort of
no,
punch resistance you've got until you get in there. And you know, I got in the
yeah,
ring and I had nothing to give, and that's a shame because I know on my best night, or probably close to my best night, I'd beat Tanoka on that night. And you know,
yeah,
at the same time, as bad as I felt, nobody knows how bad I felt apart from me. And you know, it's something that I've got to live with, and something that I've got to make sure it doesn't happen again. But you know, whether it was because I felt bad or not, I still made wrong decisions in the fight. And
yeah,
knowing, feeling as bad as I felt on the night, if I'd have made better decisions, I would have won the fight. And you know, I didn't win the fight. I got beat. And after the fight, went back to the drawing board. I made sure that this would never happen again. I made sure that I
yeah,
got a really good nutritionist on board, with somebody that's gonna prep my meals, make sure that I make the weight right, make sure that all the guesswork and all the question marks around making weight and refueling properly are taken out. And his name's Scott Robinson. He's done a great job. He's got me in
yeah.
like really good fight shape. Been in shape for a long time now, and you know, I can't fault him. So.
Is that is that something, not to obviously go on about it, but is that something that you regret in hindsight now, looking back, thinking, you know, I should have just said, listen, I'm not fighting. I'm not in the right, you know, frame to do it. My body's not up to it. Or did you just think, you know what, let's just get through it. I'll be able to get through it, type of thing.
Yeah, well, on the night, I on the day that we'd been in my hotel room all day, I was like, oof, you know, like I knew I weren't right, and it was the case where I'm headlining live on Sky Sports, top of
Yeah,
the bill. All the eyes are going to be on me. I've just boxed in Peterborough, won a big title, headlined on Sky again 10 weeks earlier. So I don't know another fighter that's headlined Sky Sports shows twice in ten
yeah,
weeks. I don't know anyone that's done it, and I wanted to create the momentum, and I wanted to get a really good roller. And you know, I didn't want to put out on the day because I know that's something that doesn't sit well with promoters or broadcasters.
yeah,
And you know, it is what it is. As a fighter, you're ignorant. You don't let doubt creep in your head.
hmm,
And I was telling myself all day. I said, wait till I put the 8-ounce gloves on. I'm gonna be. Don't worry about me. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be fine. I'm gonna be fine. I can't. You can do it. And as a fighter, if you have any other mindset, then you're in the wrong game. So you know, I was telling myself that I'll be fine, and in reality, I wasn't. And like I said, you don't
Yeah.
know until you get in there. So looking back in hindsight, yeah, I do regret getting in that ring that night because you know I wouldn't have fought. I would have just probably taken a step back and maybe fought in another 10 weeks, and you know I wouldn't have had the setback that I've had. And you know after that fight, they was talking about European titles and or possibly world title eliminators.
Yeah.
So if you look at on record how far that set me back, you know it's a long way, but you know it's a harsh lesson to learn, but a lesson that I've taken on board.
Do you think, like you said, it's a lesson? Do you think that'll make you stronger going forward, though? Does that improve your mindset to know that, you know, you've had a bit of a setback, but you're able to push on from that for the rest
Yeah,
of your career?
I think so. I think so. I think
Mm.
that you know when I finish my career, we'll look back at that and it will be a blessing in disguise. But you know,
Yeah.
at this point in time, there's no way of knowing. So it's down to me to prove that it was a blessing, and it's down to me to prove that you know it was enough night. And if it wasn't enough night, and if I was talking shit, then we'll
Yeah.
find out in 4 weeks' time when I fight Reece Bellotti. Because you know, if I'm a fraud, then I'll be exposed.
Yeah. That's a cracking fight. Finally, then, final one from me. Where would you like to see yourself a year from now? What would you like to have done? Would you like to be thinking, you know, you're challenging for European, world honours, you know, in the rankings? Where do you want to see yourself in a year's time? What's ideal for you?
Well,
Realistic.
the way I see it, realistically, if I beat Reece Bellotti in the fashion that I know I'm capable of, then it puts me back where I was um, after the Tanoka fight, to where I was looking at European title shots, or where I was looking at the fights to get me straight through in the world rankings.
Yeah.
And so this time next year, if I can get a roll on and get some good wins together, Blight is a great first step on the ladder,
Yeah.
and I think it's a fight that's going to propel me into maybe European and world title eliminator. So yeah, this time next year, why not be European champion, looking for big fights on the world scene.
I know I said finally, but I've just got one more for you. Do you think that is one of your dreams? I know you're a Peterborough lad. Would you like to sort of headline one day London Road? You know, with the hometown crowd there for you. Is that one of your things you'd
Yeah,
want to do?
that'd be awesome. You know, that would be my dream come true to headline at the Posh Ground. I know
Yeah.
they've got another ground that they're looking at now. They're building a new stadium. So whether it's at London Road or whether it's at the new place, we'll see. As long as I get there, then I'll be happy.
Yeah. Well, good luck, Jordan. Wish you all the best for your fight. We'll keep tabs on you and keep checking in. And you know, good luck. Good luck with your career. Go moving forward. Appreciate you giving us the time.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, bro. Thank you.
Cheers, mate.
Bye.
Bye.